So already had this slide before. We've used the distribution of the ponds mapped by the and the yellow stars are the ponds where we did detailed ecological surveys. So we've got a cluster up in the northwest and also in the area in west of Hereford. And then we also have this large area in the centre, which you can see really hasn't been looked at all. We kind of work with the area. So that's hopefully something for the future. So yeah, a total of over 1,500 ponds, although some of these will be no longer consistent. So yeah, so summaries, essentially, we generally over 1,395 invertebrate records. We have other records which are not counted in this as well. 196 different species, and between 1 species and 62 species per pond on the basis of a single visit. Now, if you look at ponds more than once, you tend to get more species. So, I'll come to the top sites in a minute, but so on average, roughly 26 species per pond, and something specifically, now I'll come back to right at the end, another over 200 records of 93 wetland species, so not strictly aquatics. Okay. Top 10 pond sites, so Blakemere, 62 species on 1 visit, and this is a site that's really hardly been studied at all. So a lot of this is new, whereas obviously ponds like Mockers Park has been quite extensively studied. Lupton, another. So I'll come on to some of these sites in a minute. And with the taxonomic breakdown, so water beetles by far the most significant group, 90 different species of water beetles. So almost as many as everything else put together, actually, with bugs, and sort of way down to different taxonomic groups. So here on. So Blakemere, so this is the mere pond of Blakemere. It's actually it's an unusual site because it's common, but there's no public access because it's entirely surrounded by a private farmland, and it's a very overgrown site with a lot of willow and alder. Move on. And on again. So it's actually relatively little areas of emerging vegetation like this you can see here. So mostly it's very dominated by these willows, very heavily shaded. So that's something we've been addressing in management projects. Okay, so this species of water beetle is Agulus undulatus, this was discovered at Blakemere, so it's new for Herefordshire. So the sort of recent records in England are all in the east, primarily in the sort of Cambridgeshire, Norfolk region. So historically it's been found in other areas, but not at all recently. So this finding in Herefordshire is pretty significant. This tends to be a species associated with kind of high quality habitats, and some of these rarer water beetles tend to be near flightless. So possibly not absolutely flightless, but they have limited powers of dispersal. So chances are it's been at Blakemere for quite a long time. It's just nobody's seen it before. It's quite a distinctive species with these sort of yellow shoulder bands. Okay. And now Anopheles nigritus, another small water beetle, and it's quite significant as being one of the distinctive species that we tend to get in our Herefordshire Ice Age ponds. So I think we had 8 sites for it during the project, and all of them are what we believe to be Ice Age sites. And so here's our Herefordshire cluster of ones over here, and again the main distribution sort of Norfolk, Cambridgeshire, again in sort of high quality fenland type sites. One interesting thing actually about this species in particular is that we have also found it previously at Brockle Quarry in what was called the settling lagoon. So this is where they pump the silt, and basically a natural pond has developed at this site. So it's a sort of mineral sediment, very low nutrients. So just entirely natural condensation plant, and this species has moved in maybe within the past 20, 30 years. So it's a question of why it's only found in Ice Age ponds when it's obviously capable of moving to new ponds, but it does tend to like the reverse ponds. Carry on. And again, another beetle hydrocracy on gators. Quite a similar story to the previous species, actually. 11 different sites, and pretty much all of them in Ice Age ponds. So, again, nationally, sorry, on. Oh no, we can carry on. So, Northern Cannon Orchard, this site's been mentioned a few times. So, 4 ponds here in a single field, very scattered trees. Most of these are sort of seasonal ponds, so they dry up either every year or most years. You see this pond very heavily dominated by grass, so it provides really good quality habitat for aquatic invertebrates, especially these water beetles. So the ponds in here have something like, I think, 25 species in one pond, but when you look at all 4 ponds together, that doubles to more like 50 species across just in this one field. So really quite a significant site. And it's just like this recently acquired by the Wildlife Trust, which is excellent. Carry on. This is one of the other ponds on the same site. Quite interesting vegetation as well. And it was genosis. Again, one of these water beetles with reduced flight capability. And these 2 red dots here are 2 sites where we found it quite recently within Herefordshire. So at Northern Cannon and also at Kentister. So now this just down the road at Northern Cannon. This is one of the ponds the water sampling tests. I wanted to include this because it really sums up with one photograph the state of a lot of our Ice Age ponds. So you can see it's divided by a fence right down the middle, and on one side very open, very heavily grazed, and the other side completely wooded and overgrown with willows. And in terms of invertebrates, when we took this pond, almost all the species were in this very open, heavily grazed area, and very little. I think we've got maybe 1 water beetle species in this wooded part, and quite a lot of species over here, even though it's pretty heavily trampled by cattle. And in Newhouse Farm, Lupton, I think this was the second site in terms of number of species, but it's interesting. We didn't actually have any rare species. Carry on. Again, it's just the same pond on the site. And opposite state, Willie Pool, quite a large pond again, heavily wooded. Go on. Yeah. And this new sponge we found during the project. So this freshwater sponge, not all that common. It's this was on a submerged piece of wood. So it's quite interesting animal species. And next. So Birch's Farm, this is up near Kington. So this, I'm not sure which side of this Ice Age pond or not. Beth can argue about that, but again, it's a very seasonal pond, very dominated by grasses and sedges, and it does provide very good habitat for this Helophrus strigiforms and other water beetle species, which likes these sort of seasonal ponds which dry out regularly. Again, fairly scattered distribution, so it's good species to find. Okay. And so Brophoderus, should mention this one really. So this is again, you see most of its distribution in eastern, southeastern England. So this Herefordshire population, which is at Mockers Park, is totally isolated. It's been here by a long time. Will discovered it, sort of rediscovered it a few years ago. So it's still present, which is good, very attractive, quite large water beetle species. And carry on. This is actually the habitat where it occurred. His Will searching for it. So it's quite a deep part of the lawn corner mockers with very good sort of diverse vegetation, which is the habitat it likes. Okay. Now, so medicinal leech is quite a rare species nationally. It's fully protected, but its species that's declining. In Herefordshire, the last record was actually in 2014 when coons were found upon that beige farm, which has subsequently been destroyed. So, and prior to that, it was found at Mockers last in the year 2000, and also at a site in Stortford White, I should say, in 2005. where we've looked for it subsequently and hasn't been. So let's see. Go on. So in Marcus last year, we did actually help a lot of volunteers. We did quite an extensive search for the Beaches Act office, but was unsuccessful. So it may have disappeared. We don't know if there's any sites still left in species in Hereford at all. It's easy to see this photo already. So just put this in because we've got a few, not just about beetles obviously. So it's at Sturts, we have two rare snails. So mud snail and also next one, moss bladder snail. So these are both snails that enjoy these sort of seasonal ponds with drying up every year. So they do well in these kind of conditions. Okay, so not too much left about. So I mentioned the wetland species at the end. So these, mustn't forget really that when we're looking at pond wildlife, normally people are thinking about the actual aquatic species living in the pond, but also there are a lot of other species which live around the pond on the vegetation and will use the pond, especially in the summer as the water levels as the pond dries out. So this was one example of this small plant species, quite a rare species nationally. You can see there's quite a lot of records from Wales, a few in East England, but none for Herefordshire. So we discovered it a couple of years ago at two ice age ponds probably. So, and we've found a number of other sort of interesting wetland species which we don't have time to go into. And this is Grove Farm Pond where this species was. It's quite a small pond surrounded by an arable field, and with this sort of very nice wetland habitat, very sort of saturated with grass and sedge and rush dominated vegetation. Okay, and so finally, I think looking at these ice age ponds, obviously we're talking about these ponds been there for thousands of years. But you don't want to make the mistake to think that all their species have also been there for thousands and thousands of years, because that's not necessarily the case. So, for example, this species, Iactans, it's a small species of water boatman, was only discovered around the year 2000 in Norfolk, I think it was. And so all the records pretty much have been in eastern England. But during the project, we've actually found it at 3 very widely separated sites in Herefordshire. So that's obviously moved in just in the past few years, probably. This is a diagnostic feature here, these sort of front legs of the male. When they tend to have these sort of pegs, which they use to make a sort of singing noise, which apparently attracts the females. And so, anything else actually? I can't remember why I put that one in there. That's one of the ponds at Cannon Bridge. So, oh yeah, this is one of the ponds actually where that was found, and it actually demonstrates the change you can get. So we surveyed this pond back in 2019, and it had maybe 25 species, and then I had another look at it just this autumn because we were going there to do some management of the trees on these other ponds. This pond over here, which is just got rather heavily overgrown, and also the east pond, which you can't see over here. And species composition, similar number of species, but really very little overlap. Big change in species numbers just over 2 years. So these ponds are really quite dynamic environments, and they do change quite a lot. Okay.
Thank you, Giles.